Hello and welcome to this edition of URP Practical Talk. I'm your host, George Gonzalez. And today, as always, we have Dr. Vishnu Bandhu. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine, thank you, George.
Great, great. So I'm told that you have been doing a lot of traveling and, that you've been doing a lot of outreach all throughout the nation and abroad. So, how's all that been going?
Well, it's been going fairly good. I just came back from Kakwani, and I was in Kakwani for a few days, you know, and I also was in Linden for a few days. We just came back. People are very excited in listening to us, what we are saying. And we have a lot of people who are coming aboard on it. Overseas, I have been visiting different manufacturing company, those who have different kind of industries and so forth, to try to see what we can able to do in Guyana and try to encourage them to come in Guyana. But one of the things that bothering them when they look on the net and they look at everything and examine Guyana, it's so much a crime and all this corruption and all these things what happening in Guyana. They does not want to come under this government, or they would not have come under the previous government. Guyana has to get new leaders to encourage overseas people to come back home, especially the Guyanese people.
And it sounds like those people are really interested in URP being that leader then.
Oh,
right?
definitely,
All right.
definitely,
Okay.
because we have a lot of millionaire Guyanese overseas who are dying to come home, but will not come home under the PPP, or would not come home under the APNU or AFC or any one of them.
So it sounds like all right. So I guess with that being said, that that people are receptive of the message. People, it sounds like your outreaches have been going well.
Yeah.
We can just go into the
Yeah.
questions. We
Yes.
can actually use that as a stepping
Yeah.
point for
Yes.
them. That of course, as you said, that you've been reaching out to a lot of these manufacturers and a lot of these like industrialists, and that the reception has been good. But so can you give us kind of an idea, like what type of industries, what type of people are interested?
Well, we are talking, you see, the URP had been talking about building a strong family, and this has a relationship with this industry because many people, like for instance, let us take the Wales Sugar Estate closed down the other day. Those family, like the men, them, the first thing they seek is to go in the bush and work. Either they go or cut timber because they are not the kind of people that accustomed to any other job and those kind of job, manual job. And we are saying that, look, if we have an area that we are having agriculture, let us say we are planting pepper in an area. We set up a pepper factory there. We planting pumpkin in an area and whatever that make ketchup, tomatoes and so forth. We plant that and we set up a ketchup factory there. So every area that we have in Guyana, we should create jobs in those areas so that family can stick together. See, when two parents are together, they brought up good children, strong, vibrant children, children to stand on their own feet. So our idea, if you build a strong family, then you will build a strong nation. And if you build a strong nation, you will build a strong government. And if you build a strong government, then you have a progressive country, a prosperous country.
That's great. And so I know that agriculture is a good option for for keeping families together, to keeping a lot of the poor people of Guyana who may not necessarily have that office training or any other skills in that regard. So, but what would you say about those, especially the young people might have graduated from UG, did well on CSEX. They may go and think, Oh, what's
Well,
farming got for me?
no, no, no.
Mm.
Well, in every farming, in every industry, farming industry, they have offices. They have to control the farmer. They have to, make up the books. They have to, so many secretarial work and so they have in every one of the industry. So young people can fit in into that because that's what they train of. They train for, that's what they train for, and that's how the farmers will employ them and they come and they work in the office and they do whatever they have to do, you know.
And so to be able to have this vast agricultural industry, we would really need I would say like we need to look at not just the farming, but we have to look at the science of farming. Do you feel like that would be a good way of probably even encouraging more young people into
Oh,
that industry?
definitely, definitely. Young people are very good today. The technology world, the young people runs it, you know. By informing, they can go and Google this and they find out this, find out that, and pass it down to the farmers what they ought to do. So all those are things that the young people are capable to do. So we need the young people as well as we need the older folks who are doing the farming. We have some young people also who are into farming itself, not only bookwork. Some of them cut out to be farmers. So it's not that you're pushing the young people aside. Everybody are involved in some way. In the country, we have to work together. As I always said, running a country is like a puzzle. Running a business is like a puzzle also. You got all type of people come together and make it work. Some got the theory, some got the practical, and you put the theory and the practical together and it works. Simple as that.
Yeah. And so, well, speaking of another industry that they predict is going to bring a lot of money for the government, the oil industry. It seems like everybody's talking about the oil industry, both PPP, both APNU, but, why isn't URP talking about it?
URP a little more practical, throughout the world today, the oil lords, the big oil industries, they have predicted that oil will be going down up to $10 a barrel. Now, if oil goes down $10 a barrel US, it cannot pay them to bring up the oil. If $25 a barrel they get for oil, it cannot pay the ExxonMobil to pull it up. So where we stand, where would we go? That is why we are focusing on the agriculture. And if the oil comes in, then that's a bonus for us, right? In the Linden office last year, July, we opened it. We spoke about creating a refinery in Linden. The other day I heard the government talking about putting a refinery. But we are the first one who come up with those ideas. So if they use our ideas to do it, it's fine. It's fine. I have no problem with that.
So really what your focus is less about party, but the advancements of Guyana.
Of course. Look at the advantage. Look at only politics. Look at the advantage. Look what will make your people happy. What will bring smile on their face. Look at that. That's what the government is for. To make their people happy, to guide them to happiness. But if you can't guide yourself to happiness, how would you guide the people? Simple as that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I like that viewpoint because it also goes to show you that every person in government has a role to play in pushing the country forward. It's crucial. It definitely is. And so, well, speaking on oil and also on agriculture, that a lot of persons are a little bit concerned that people may run away from agriculture to go into oil. That But it seems to be that the viewpoint is that that we can essentially use oil to try to push people back into agriculture.
Well, I don't know how we will use the oil to push people back into agriculture. Because when you hear about oil, you hear about big money, and everybody looking for big money. Okay. So I don't know how that will work, you know. But that is why URP are not focusing too much on the oil. Although this government, that the main thing right now is the oil. They forget about the agriculture. They forget about everything and talking about oil, you know. And the oil is something also that create pollutions in the world. The whole world are saying about going green. President Granger was saying he going green, but I think his green mean is to paint up all his building them with green, all the government building with green. That's his way of going green. You know, even the state house today has painted with green. You know, amazing.
So it seems to kind of conflict with the desire to have a green agenda, but that there isn't enough investment in green technologies or even green agriculture. So
Yeah. Yeah. We don't have that. That's why we're talking about the ethanol. We're talking about going ethanol. We're talking about use the cane for going the ethanol. I heard they said they're going to reopen some estate again, the sugar industry. So I don't know what they're really doing. You know, I don't know what their plan. But people need jobs, and if they can open the estate and give the people job, I will commend them on that, because people have to live. You know, people have to live, and people who cut the cane, the sugar, working all their life in sugar estate, that's all what they know to do. They don't know to do anything else. So if you put them out of that, they can't go and get an office job. They are hard-working people. They have to do farming, or they have to do some other things. But if they don't have the opportunity to do it, wow, how are they going to do it? Yeah? Simple as that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so this is really crucial for helping to develop the country. I mean, you know, every person has to have a job. Everyone has to be able to push the nation forward as a whole. So we've spoken of the soon-to-be oil industry, the agriculture industry. And I know one industry that isn't really touched on, but could possibly even be a very profitable one, is the film industry. I know we would have spoken about that at some point. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, Guyana need a film industry. When I was in India, I've been having some chats with film industry, and they have indicated to me that if we are in government, they will definitely come here and put up the filming industry. Because when they talk about Guyana, when they examine Guyana, they don't think that this government or the previous government is ready for that. And they feel that they can work with the URP, and they're willing to come and set up shop here so that we can be able to do filming, we can able to create employment for young people in Guyana, where they can be a part of the film industry, being film stars and what have you. But we are focusing heavily on our young people, because we know that the young people is the future of tomorrow. You know, and we will have to work with the young people to give them something that they can able to look up to. You know, and we are working toward those. We are working on all kind of strategy, so that we can able to encourage our young people to move on with life.
Yes. And I feel like one strategy that, as a media operative, I feel like one thing that is really holding back the industry is the antiquated copyright laws. Do you feel that also as well, that's holding back the industry? Or
well, all of that is a part of it, because you know, we don't have no kind of real law in Guyana to be able to protect these people. We used to have a lot of cinema in Guyana years ago. Cinema was a big thing. But when the people's television started come out, the government never create any law that, okay, only certain things can show on the television. The television started to show all the movies, everything, so the cinema hadn't been getting people anymore. There wasn't a part of entertainment there anymore because people are seeing on the TV. So we need to bring this serious law that there are certain movies you cannot show on the television unless it already show on the TV, right? So we have to do that.
Yes. No, absolutely. And that I feel that with that well-regulated, that well-documented sort of legislation, that'll really be able to help develop industries like that. But so can you tell us about any other industries that you feel that the Guyana should really move into, or a lot of Guyanese business persons should move into as a means of developing?
They have so much different industry that we can able to think. We have all the bottles and so that we throw away. We have to try to refine those things and bring up factories to create those garbage that we are having all over the place. Even our garbage can be used as fertilizers. We can create fertilizer because we are a farming industry. And all the garbage that we're having so much problem in piling up, we have technology all over the world where we can bring these experts to come here and start to create garbage into fertilizer and so forth. And we have the canning industry we have been talking about. We have been talking about the packaging industry, we have been talking also about the fishing industry. And those are things that we have been talking about and which the government hasn't been talking about, They have, whatever we had here from the British days had been carried on all the time and going down and down. We are not moving up. So URP want to see progress in Guyana. We want to move up in Guyana. And the only way we can move up is by a URP government.
Yes. And I know one of the industries that this government is looking to bring back, and I would want to know the view of the URP on this, is the scrap metal industry. Well, of course, because of all the issues with corruption and various other things that happened, and within it, it was shuttered. So, do you feel like that's an industry that should come back as well, or should it be pushed aside?
No. Everything works. Everything works. We can't push aside anything. These industries have their own people to run it. Everything that what we have in Guyana, they have different kind of people to run it. So we can't push nothing aside. We want to develop Guyana. And anything that anybody comes up with, we shouldn't push it aside. We should examine it. Examine it if it's good for our country, if it makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, then we push it aside. If it makes sense, let us grab onto it. Let us encourage those who brought it to our attention. Give them some kind of encouragement to start the industries. So there is so many things, so many different kind of industry, and I am seeing that under URP government, you will have so many different industries will be coming into Guyana. It will be unbelievable. It will be unbelievable because we will be able to encourage them by giving them certain facilities to go on. One of the first things we have to work on in Guyana is electricity, right? Because without proper electricity, without cheap electricity, the industry can't survive. Today, we are paying 3 times more of the money for electricity than the most expensive state in New York, in United States, which is New York. They are selling electricity for 8 cents per kilo. We are selling electricity here 4 times the 8 cents what they're selling it for. Our electricity here per kilo is $53 plus VAT. So it's actually 4 times more expensive than the most expensive state in United States, New York.
Yeah. And even on that note of energy and of power, is that I, of course, as a New Yorker, that looking at the gas prices, that people are paying more when you convert it over to dollars to gallons, that you're paying more per liter or you're paying more per gallon for gas here than you are paying in New York, which is, again, one of the highest costing states, and even in terms of gas. So it's a very it makes it very difficult for industries, especially those that rely so heavily on gas, to be able to develop.
That is why many industries can't survive here, because they depend on the electricity. And our electricity is very costly. Even the businesses, because the electricity is costly, they have to raise the price on the merchandise, to be able to pay themselves, and it can't work.
And so essentially, if we lower the cost of doing business in the country instead of just moving towards a tax and spend model, that'll really encourage this growth, is I guess essentially is what you're arguing?
If
we lower the cost of doing business instead of heavy taxation like we're seeing now, that would be able to reverse that, to actually see growth.
Definitely, you will be able to do that. Because things are expensive. The money that people are working for, it's hardly do for the putting food in the stomach. If they don't have very much money to play with, to buy luxury things or anything like that. So it is costly enough. Look, electricity, as we just spoke about it, I am paying my house about $100,000 in electricity bill per month. Per month I'm paying that, right? You go other areas, they're not paying those kind of bills. Like you go Linden, Kakwani, and all those places, they pay a small amount of electricity. We are carrying the burden here. Why they did that is because they consider those areas depressed areas. But it just to show you that many people can't afford to even paying their electricity bill. That is why you have so much thieves of the electricity and the current and so forth. They try to bridge a wire here and there to ease off the meter running, because it's too much. They can't afford it.
And so, speaking of the cost of business and people complaining of that, what's the biggest complaint that you really hear from the business community?
Well, the business community right now, they're saying that everybody things are dead. People have been retrenching people every day in Guyana. Some of them closing down. Some of them, thinking about moving out back from the country, go to New York, Canada, where they have people for. They're going. So things are not getting up in Guyana. We are getting down. More and more every day we're going down. We are not going up. And the government has been saying that things are happening good for them. There's less crime, there's this. I don't know which world they are in to understand. You can't sit down in your office, your air-conditioned office and your air-conditioned cars and run this country. You have to go in the field and see how people live to understand what is happening.
And do you feel like they're not doing enough of that? That they're not?
They're not doing that, period. Period. Very rare you see they go out there and meet with the people and to find out The air conditioned rooms are very comfortable for them, and the cars, all the luxury, what they're having, that's enough for them. But they fail to understand those luxury, what they're having, come from those poor people out there. Because had it not been for their tax and so forth, they would not be living in that luxury. You know?
Yeah.
They fail to understand that.
Yes, and so there isn't enough of an outreach that's creating a bit of I mean, I'm sure that creates some sort of social division that must cause. I mean, because we spoke of the business people's complaint. So is the average person's complaint the same?
All over the country. All over the country has the same complaint. Things are bad. They don't have jobs. They don't, they can hardly have 3 meals. All over Guyana is the same complaint they are having. They are having no different complaints. It's not like one area is good and the other area is bad. All over Guyana, it's the same way. Things are bad with people. They ain't getting better. So it's important for us to examine. The people have to examine themselves. Because I am telling you, if this government ever go back in power, God help us in Guyana. There will be no future for you. They will, especially for your young children, have no future. This country has nothing for them. And I cannot see Guyana move forward unless you have a different government than the PPP and the PNC. It is not going forward. It will never ever go forward. I am telling you that.
Those are some strong feelings on that.
Yes, very strong. And the ordinary person will tell you that too, because they saw the color of all of them. They see the color of this one. They saw the color of the other one. They're nothing but the same. There's no difference in Guyana. No difference whatsoever.
So you're just seeing a general dissatisfaction all around. Wow.
General dissatisfaction. Those people who you don't hear dissatisfaction from is those who are getting some kind of benefit from this government. Only them you wouldn't hear dissatisfaction because they're getting a bread from the government. So you wouldn't hear that they will say anything bad. But deep down in their heart, I know that they're feeling it. Deep down in their heart, they're feeling it. But how long we do not stay away from this racism, what we are having, Guyana has nowhere to go. We are doomed in Guyana if the people still think about racism. We'll have no future in Guyana. It is impossible for us to grow.
And that's even a hurdle in itself that needs to be addressed. It absolutely does need to be.
Yeah. So I'm appealing to each and every one of our Guyanese brothers and sisters. Please look at the URP very carefully. URP is your only hope in Guyana to make your life better. No matter what they promise you, beware of them. And I thank you, and may God bless you. Thank you.
So, of course. And that's all the time that we have today for this edition of URP Practical Talk. Again, my name is George Gonzalez, your host for the show. And as always, we encourage everybody to check out the Facebook, URP Guyana, and also the website, www.urpguyana.com. Again, thanks for watching, and thank you for coming in, Dr. Bandu.
New vision.